Delphine Gabran, the founder of DJ Interior Architect. Hi, how are you?
Hi, how are you? Good, thank you.
Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for hosting me.
So, first of all, we would like to know a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so I'm Delphine Gabran. I'm the founder of Delphine Gabran Interior Architect. I have always wanted to be an interior designer. It was really a passion before being a job. And when I graduated from Alba University in Beirut, my educational background opened a lot of opportunities. So that's why I was encouraged to directly begin my own practice. It was a bit challenging at the beginning, but it turned out to be very rewarding.
About the beginning of your business, how was it?
Delphine Gabran is an all-service design studio gathering a very dynamic team of interior architects. Our project, we work on residential and hospitality projects around the world. Some of our restaurants in the Middle East are Safra, Sage Parlor, Terminal B. We worked on El Mayas in Abu Dhabi, in Galleria Mall. We worked also on Nolus in Abu Dhabi. And each of these projects is a beautiful journey and with unique experiences and story to tell behind it.
Why did
Dubai, first of all, is the land of opportunities, and it's a melting pot. It's amazing how cultures are blended and how they are respected by the UAE leaders. And it's very important also in our domain to see how our creations and our ideas are valued and protected.
Now, can you tell me about your business and the most important services that you offer?
Okay, so first of all, our goal is to create an emotional interaction where design should meet function. And as I said, we work on residential and restaurants and hospitality projects in the Middle East. First of all, designing is not just about picking colors and materials. It involves a lot of knowledge on how a space should work. So, for example, when you're working on a restaurant, the back and the front of a house should work in tandem. So it demands a lot of knowledge on the flow and how it should be designed. At the end, we're not decorating, we're modeling spaces.
You said that you do residential and hospitality.
Sure.
Places. So can you tell us about both?
Yeah, sure. Both, when you're designing both, it's a bit different because when you're designing residence, you're trying to know more about the lifestyle of the person in that house, how they live, what are their habits, what do they like, what do they don't. So it's like a bit knowing more psychologically how they are. When you're designing a restaurant, it's completely different because you need to please everyone. And especially here in the UAE with the nationalities that you have. So for example, if you're implementing a Chinese restaurant in the UAE, it's not like implementing a Chinese restaurant in China because you have to look at the surrounding, the urbanism, the culture that you have, and you need to adapt this project in the country you're designing in.
Speaking of designs, can you tell me about the designs that you create?
Okay, so usually when we create a design, we're always inspired by something. We always need to create a story for that project. So most of our projects actually are inspired by nature. Nature is our muse, is our main source of inspiration. For example, when we designed El Mayas in Abu Dhabi, in Galleria Mall, it was inspired by the pomegranate, which is a beautiful fruit when split open. So when you see the seeds in it, how it's divided, so the whole concept was around it. And the pomegranate is a symbol of the Armenian history, which El Mayas is an Armenian restaurant. For example, when we designed Nolus in Abu Dhabi, Nolus is an Afghanian Californian concept. So we did a lot of research about Californian history and their cultures. And then we found something something that we loved in their culture is that people found during the war, they found peace while listening to birds. So that was our source of inspiration, and this is where the concept came from. So when you enter the space, you can feel that the birds all around you, you feel very peaceful.
So there are a lot of interior designs company out there. So what makes you more special?
Okay, so first when I started my practice, the biggest challenge we had was to gain our position in the market. And with the harsh competition, you learn actually to push the boundaries of your creativity. So it was a bit challenging at the beginning. We also had some other challenge, like for example, the budget, some budget issue with some projects. We had some limitations on some budgets and tools. But as I always say to my team, innovation and creations comes out of limitations. So actually you should always learn from what you've been through, and because actually life is like a roller coaster, you know, and you should learn from it at the end.
So how do you gain your clients' confidence, and how do you get them to come back to you?
You know, when you're doing it's a service at the end, and when you're working with a client that is happy with your service, he will refer you to someone else. So this is where actually you're building your identity, you're building your community and your clients around you.
What's your future vision to this business?
Okay, so you always have to dare to dream a little bit bigger, and I see myself expanding even more, and inshallah trying to work all over the world with these different cultures.
In UAE, there's a high level of safety, security, and stability, so people can achieve their dreams. Businessmen can start their businesses easy and successfully. So from your side, would you like to address the Emirates, the leaders, the rulers, and chiefs of the United Arab Emirates? Thank you message.
Of course, I would like to thank them first for encouraging us and for valuing our ideas and creation. And also for we innovated ourselves in this country, just like the UAE leaders did with the UAE.
To the people who were there for you, supported you, loved you, and motivated you to become the person you are now, would you like to address them an appreciation message?
Of course, my family, my husband, my kids was my biggest support. They were my biggest support and my source of inspiration. So I couldn't thank them enough for being my support, and like I'm a mom too of two kids, so I have the support of the whole family to be able to travel, to work, and at the same time to be able to spend some quality times with my family.
Last but not the least, can you tell us where's your location and how can people communicate with you?
Okay, so yeah, we have two offices. We have one based in Beirut and one in Al Quoz in Dubai. And actually they can follow us on social media. So we have two pages, is Delphine Gabran _ interior architect.
Ms. Delphine Gabran, thank you so much for being with us
Thank you.
today.
Thank you for having me.
And from our program, we wish you the best of luck.
Thank you so much.
Ladies
Thank
and
you.
gentlemen, thank you so much for being with us today. Hopefully we'll see you in the next episode with a new successful story.